In this next lesson, we're going to talk about parallel lines and transversals. So we're going to use a couple different colors here, and I would recommend that you also get a few different colors. So I'm going to use markers. You can use markers, colored pencils, crayons, whatever you have around. Anything like that is perfectly fine. So the first thing for us to realize is that these right here are our parallel lines. This line right here is called a transversal. Transversal means that it cuts across the set of parallel lines then. So when we have this transversal and we have this set of parallel lines, we now have this spot that's inside, which we're going to call the interior. And we have these two spots that are on the outside that we're going to call the exterior. You can kind of think about it almost as a little window. This is the interior part, and those two are your exterior parts. So looking at this, one of the things to realize is that this, with the transversal and the parallel lines, kind of creates these two little clumps of angles, and they're clumps of 4 because you can realize there's 4 right there. Having those intersect creates the 4 angles, that little X situation that we've already seen before. Only now we have 2 different X situations. So what happens is we actually have different angle relationships here. So my corresponding angles really just mean that they are located in the same spot. So if I look at angle 1 and then I move down, that's in the top left corner. If I look at my other clump of angles, the 5 is also in the top left corner, which tells me that angles 1 and 5 are corresponding. If you look at the 2, it's in the top right corner, and 6 is in the top right corner, so 2 and 6 are corresponding. 3 and 7, as well as angle 4 and angle 8. So that is the corresponding angles. Alternate interiors. So let's talk interior. So we're just going to be focusing on these 4 angles that are inside here. So what I'm going to do is actually take 2 index cards, and I'm going to cover up the exterior parts right there so that we're only focusing on the interiors. Now, alternate means that you're kind of going back and forth between something. You're alternating between, do I want pizza for dinner or do I want Chinese food for dinner? So alternate means to go on either sides. Notice that when we are starting to talk about these angle relationships, we pick one angle from the top clump and one angle from the bottom clump. We're going to do that here, only now we have to pick one angle from the top clump, and then we're going to go down to the bottom clump, but we're also going to switch sides because we're talking alternate interiors. So for alternate interiors, an example for us would be angle 3 and angle 6. Because they are both on the interior and they're on alternate sides of that transversal. By the same idea, 4 and 5 are also alternate interior angles. Now there's only 2 sets of these because there's only 4 angles for us to work with. So now if we are talking about alternate exteriors, we can kind of use the same idea, and let's just focus on only the exterior angles. So if we're going alternate exteriors, we need to be focused on the outside part, the 4 angles out here. If I look at angle 2, and that's on the right side of the transversal, come down to my other clump, angle 7 is on the left side of my transversal. We've alternated sides. So an alternate exterior angle set would be angle 2 and angle 7. The other set would be angle 1 and angle 8. If we talk about same side interiors, we're now again looking at just the interior part of the picture. So let's cover up our exterior. So same side interiors, let's use this magenta color here. Same side would mean that you're staying on the transversal. So if you have 3 is on this side of the transversal in this clump, come down here, 5 is still on the same side of the transversal. So angles 3 and angle 5 are going to be same side interiors. By that same idea, 4 and 6 are also same side interiors. The next one asks us for same side exteriors. So again, let's just look at the exterior pictures here. If I'm looking for exterior sides, 1 right here is on the exterior, and we need to stay on the same side just in the other clump. So we're just going to come down here. so angles 1 and angle 7. The other set would be angle 2 and angle 8 because they are on the same side of the transversal and they're on the exteriors. The last one here asks you to look at vertical angles. So basically cover up one of the clumps and look inside here. Verticals you're used to seeing. Here's your X. 1 and 4 is a set. And then 2 and 3 would also be a set. Look down in your bottom clump, 5 and 8, and angles 6 and 7. So take a look here. It's going to ask us to identify some things. 1 and 5. So what I'm going to first do, and I recommend you do this every time, go ahead and clump them. 1 and 5 are both located in the top left, which means they're corresponding. 8 and 4, they're both located in the bottom right, so they're also corresponding. 2 and 7, 2 is over here and 7 is down here. Notice they're both in the exterior, but notice that they've switched sides. This started out on the right side of the transversal, that went to the left side. So they alternated and they're exteriors. So that takes us to letter C. 3 and 6, notice they are both on the interior. This is on the left side, but that's on the right side. So they alternated, and they're alternate interiors then. In number 5, 6 and 4, 6 and 4 are both on the interiors. They're on the same side, so they are same side interiors. In the next one, 2 and 6, 2 is in the top right, 6 is in the top right, so they are corresponding. Number 7, angle 4 and angle 5 are both in your interior, but they've alternated sides, so they're alternate interiors. 1 and 8 are both exteriors, they've alternated sides, so they are alternate exteriors. And finally, 3 and 5 are both on the interior, but they are same side of the transversal, so they're same side interiors. Take a minute to look at the next page and see if you can match these up. Come back to check your answers. Going down your list, you should have G, D, I, E, C, B, F, A, and H.